Hey there, welcome to the Big Apple School podcast. My name is Sam.
My name is Steve.
And today we're asking what's the crack about travelling Ireland. So we're going to look at what things we associate with that wonderful country, how we, if at all, are connected with that place. Is it important to travel around the country where you live? How does it differ from Northern Ireland? There is a big difference, perhaps, or perhaps not. What cities we've been to in Ireland and how? How did we travel there? What our favourite cities are and why? Maybe least favourite too, which we may have some. Our favourite experiences there. Where else we might like to go if we have not been everywhere already. And do we think it's a little bit overlooked? People want to go to London and forget about Dublin. So that is our topic for today. Welcome, Stephen.
I'm very glad to be here and very nice to talk to you again, Sam.
Good stuff. Yeah, good to talk to almost a fellow Northern Irishman. I mean, you've got strong connections anyway.
I have connections with Northern Ireland particularly. Yeah. And if we're speaking about Ireland, we have to decide whether we're going to include Northern Ireland
it's a very big debate, right?
In this debate.
I'm not sure that's... we're going to solve that today. It's been debated for a while. But as regards Ireland, and when we say Ireland, we think Republic of Ireland, for now at least.
Yes.
Yeah. So Republic of Ireland, it's governed in Dublin. What three things do you associate with Ireland?
Well, I think that one of the first things is the humour of the Irish.
All right, yeah.
Or the blarney, as they call it.
Right, and there's a blarney stone in it, and you've got the gift of the gab, or the gift of talking, and you can blarney quite a bit. You can talk and talk and talk. Yeah,
that's right. And the Irish are really good at storytellers, I think.
Right.
They can spin a yarn.
Yeah. Maybe true, maybe not.
But I think that is one of the things about Ireland. The other is, I think, the weather. Yeah. Which is usually wet.
Yeah, right. I was going to say that myself, actually, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, I think, of course, the shamrock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody knows throughout the world, I think, the symbol of Ireland.
Absolutely.
Whereas they wouldn't particularly about England, I think.
Yeah, it's maybe not so well known, the English rose.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a symbol of England. Well, I was going to say green, because it's called the Emerald Isle.
Yes.
And Northern Ireland too. I mean, is it 40 Shades of Grey?
I think so, yes.
40 Shades of Grey, including all of the counties in Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. So I was going to say green. I was going to say contrasts.
That's
because
true.
You've got big cities. Well, not so many, but you've got Dublin, which is a big city. You've got other fairly good-sized cities, at least for Irish standards, and some towns and places. But you've also got those little villages, wee tiny villages we call them half-horse towns. You know, there's not really much happening, but it's got a character to it all the same. It's got a romanticism with it, I think, too. Well, depending on whether you're a tourist or not, maybe.
I think the Republic of Ireland is quite a romantic place, especially for visitors. If you can get them out of Dublin, I think.
Yeah, well, yeah. So Dublin's an interesting place to visit, but maybe worth going beyond that too. What was my third thing? I was thinking of something else. Well, I was gonna say, I said green. Maybe the friendly people too. Or I could say leprechauns.
Leprechauns,
Have you met leprechauns?
I've not met leprechauns, but I've met plenty of people who claim to have met them. which is probably not the same thing. Probably not.
I can't claim to have met one. Not yet.
No.
Although I knew a man that was quite short and quite hot-tempered and could have maybe fit the description. But I don't think he was a leprechaun, no, somehow. He didn't have the right dress code.
No, it's quite distinctive, isn't it?
How, if at all, are you connected to Ireland?
I'm connected in two ways, really. If we're speaking about the Republic, my grandmother, when she was a little girl, spent some time in south of Dublin. Her father worked on the railways there.
Right.
Then she moved up to Belfast. For a time. So in that connection is strong because she used to take me there when I was a little boy. We used to go down to Kingstown and south of Dublin. What's now been renamed Dunleary.
Oh yes, Dunleary.
And also now I have some friends in Belfast, which is not in the Republic of Ireland. But my other connection, particularly, is that 25 years ago, I was part of a school walk across Ireland. We walked right across Ireland in 2 weeks.
Right.
Right across the centre from Dublin to Galway.
That's a bit of a walk.
Yes.
As school children, yeah? School children.
Yes. When I was teaching in London, we had we used to do weekend walks.
Right.
And we walked around London and some interesting country walks. And then one of the parents suggested having an Irish walk, walking across Ireland. And so we arranged it during the holidays. We stayed in Athlone in the middle of Ireland. And then every day we took the train, first of all back to Dublin and walked to the next railway station. Then back to Athlone. And we did it in legs like that.
Right. Wow.
And so that was an interesting... So you really saw the Irish way of life that way.
Wow. So you would walk a bit and then take the train back to Athlone and then go back to where you'd finished.
That's right.
And then go back to walk a bit further towards Athlone and so on.
That's right. When we got to Athlone, it became more difficult because the stations were rather farther apart. Yeah. And we had to use buses sometimes.
The Wild West.
Yes, the Wild West was
right. Wow.
It was wild.
So as you know, I think most people know, I don't have a connection to the Republic of Ireland per se, but I'm born and bred in Northern Ireland. And I suppose, my family are born in, all my family, my heritage is Northern Irish. So, it's very, very closely linked, at least, to the Republic of Ireland, but it's not quite the same.
And of course, your accent is very different from
a range of accents throughout Northern Ireland too, but even throughout the Republic of Ireland, if you have the ear for them. So, and my accent will be very clear to a Dubliner, for example, that I'm not from the Republic of Ireland. So, it would be very clear that I'm not quite Republican Irish. Could I say that? Republic Irish?
So, yes.
Rather than Northern Irish. So, but there is it holds a special place in my heart, though, and I have spent quite a bit of time in Ireland, and I enjoy when I get the chance visiting it. So it's good. I like it. So what do you think? Is it important to travel around the world, around the country where you live? Because here in Russia, I think it's not such a popular thing. It's a huge country, and where do people start? But if you're living maybe in a smaller country, is it important to travel around it?
I think it's certainly important for if you want to get to know different ways of life, especially in Ireland, because if you just stayed in Dublin, for example, you wouldn't get to know anything about the really country ways of life.
Right. Yeah, which is it's a very different way of life entirely.
And if you go out to the west, there's a different way of life. I think there are still some Irish speakers in those parts.
And down south, I think around Cork, there's a little village as well a wee village.
Yes.
Well, I don't know the name, but there are a few,
Around Cork and Waterford and those parts, I think there are some enclaves of the Irish language.
Here and there.
And they do say "we" a lot. It's like a wee story or a wee dram.
I've got a little bit out of the habit of saying it, but we everything. If you want a cup of tea, they're offering you a cup of tea. They'll say, and I do it too. Do you want a wee cup of tea?
Yes, that's right.
But we don't mean little. We mean an ordinary cup of tea. It's a kind of a softening, I think.
Yes, it's like in Russian where you put the little chick on the end, like krasavchik and different diminutives. We don't have it in normal English.
What do you mean? Do you mean I don't speak Northern English?
The Queen's English.
Oh, but don't you think I speak the Queen's English?
Well, that would be another topic for discussion, I think.
That would be a big debate.
Yes. What about you? Do you think it's important to travel?
I think you can get a lot of... depending on the variety in the country where you live, you could learn a lot, and you could get a lot of experience that could be very valuable and interesting and insightful. And I think, I mean, even it could be enjoyable for a start. And if you're living in the country already, you don't need to worry about visas. You don't need to worry about a whole lot of things. You know the people, you know the language, you know the culture. So I think it's a good thing. I don't think it's essential, but I think it could be beneficial. It could be interesting. It could be good. But it really depends on whether or not you get the variety by traveling in your country. But
see, I have some friends in Northern Ireland who refuse to go down to the Republic. They've never set foot in it and don't intend to.
There are such people, yeah.
And I suppose it's the other way about. But I've never met anybody in the Republic of Ireland who's refused to go up north.
To go up to the Black North.
Yes.
What cities? Let me see. Where are we now? So we know you've been to Northern Ireland. And I've been to Northern Ireland. We know you've been to Ireland, and I have been to Ireland. What differences have you noticed? I mean, are there a difference culturally, any other way?
Well, there's certainly a cultural difference in Northern Ireland. I think it's more like the further north you go, it's more like a Scottish culture. Ballymena, and they have a Scottish accent.
I'm from Ballymena, hey.
And I think they certainly have a more dour, as we say in Scots, a sort of gloomy outlook on life.
No, everything's bad. The weather's bad.
Yes.
Okay.
Whereas in the Republic, people are more optimistic.
Right. Well, I'll tell you the difference I've noticed is I think they're more laid back.
Yes.
And I think that, I mean, I can tell you one example. My mum has a little dog, like a wee toy dog.
And a wee toy dog?
A wee toy dog. I mean, it's, a few, I don't know.
It is a wee dog, not a big dog.
It's quite small. I don't know how many, 400 or 500 centimeters high. And it's about 1.5 foot.
Yes.
And, or less than that? I mean, so anyway.
18 inches.
She has often brought it into the petrol station in the Republic of Ireland. And they say, come on ahead, bring the dog in, no problems. And they're very relaxed about it. But I think in Northern Ireland, they would be a little bit more, they'd be like shocked and not, they wouldn't chase you or tell you to leave, but they might be a little bit uncomfortable with you bringing the dog in. So I think they're a bit more relaxed. And that's just one example. I think the culture is a little bit more relaxed about, not to say that you can, but I think you can get away with doing bad things or whatever, but it's much more relaxed, I think, about, practical.
That's right.
More practical, maybe. Like the dog isn't going to do any harm, that sort of thing. So
I think in the north, they're very keen always to obeying the law and
just strictly follow the rules and not even when they're not practical.
Yes, that's right.
And the point of the dog, maybe it's not going to do any harm. You can lift it up, and it's not going to go to the toilet, as we would say, do its business.
Or as they say in official English, fouling.
Fouling, right. That's right.
I was asked by some Russian what it meant, this word. They saw this...
a footballer does it too.
Yes. They thought it was fouling on a pitch, but it's not.
It could be confusing. What cities have you been to in Ireland, and how did you get there?
Well, I regularly go to Belfast, but I also regularly go to Wexford because I take the ferry from Rosslare.
Right.
So I know that part. I know Waterford quite well because a friend of mine is a publisher in Waterford. So that's quite a nice place to visit.
How do you get there?
How did I get there? So usually I drive from France.
Right. From France?
Yes.
Under what?
I go on the ferry.
So you go, you don't go Eurotunnel?
Well, if I'm going to England, I would. But if I was going to...
from France to Ireland?
Yes.
By ferry?
Yes.
I've never went that way. Is it good?
Yes, it's very good. There are two services. It's overnight. It's It's a very good ship, and
Right.
it goes from I can't remember the port now, but
Not Calais.
no, Calais is further
further over
east. It's on the peninsula.
Right.
I'll think of it in a moment, but
Yeah.
it take this route to Ireland, and then I drive up the coast.
Does that drop you off in Dublin or Dunleary?
It used to drop you off in Wexford, in the port there, but now they've changed it and it goes into Dublin, so it's more convenient, really.
Well, yeah. So I think it's quite easier to get places
It
from
is.
Dublin. Yeah. Okay. So you travel a lot by car, but you have walked and went by train as a child. How old were you, by the way? I want to know more about that.
Well, the Cross Island Walk.
Yeah.
I was a teacher, so I was.
Oh,
it
right.
was 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
I suppose I was about 35.
We now know your age, right? Okay.
But our oldest teacher was in his 70s. He did
Wow.
it. And it was a very interesting walk.
Yeah.
A lot of stories about it.
And how old were the students, the pupils?
Maybe between about 10 and 13.
And how did they find it? Was it? I mean, I think I want to say this, and don't take this the wrong way, but it's not a dig at you or anything. But I think health and safety wouldn't allow it nowadays.
Oh, I don't know. Well, the children we had had practiced quite a lot on walks in England. They'd been on the walks we'd arranged in England.
Yeah.
So they were used to walking.
Yeah.
And they were all boys, so there was no girls.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any
Sensible.
problems with any
No complications.
Complications, put it like that.
And were there a lot of footpaths along these roads?
This was the problem.
Yeah.
But
So I can imagine.
the teacher who reconnoitred the walk found to get out of Dublin was the best way to walk along the canal towpaths. There are two canals going out, Midlands. I think one was the Midland Canal and the Grand Union, I think.
Okay.
And we walked out of Dublin along towpaths,
Yes.
which had not been cleared in those days practically. They were quite difficult. Now they're tourist attractions.
Yeah. Right.
But 25 years ago, it was just a jungle.
Uh-huh.
And then when we got
The jungles of Ireland.
into the countryside to Moat, I think it was,
Right.
we went across countryside and on the quieter roads. There were a lot of roads going nowhere in Ireland.
Right. Right.
They were built by the army just for no reason, apparently.
Right. Okay.
Years
Maybe
ago.
they knew the reason. I don't know.
Yes.
Wow, it sounds interesting. And you saw. So you finally got to Galway at the end of it all.
Dublin to Galway, yes.
Yeah.
And the most difficult part was out in the Wild West, as you said earlier, because there were no paths, and we just had to go across country or take roads.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I think the longest walk was 25 miles. We did the greatest distance did in one day, 25 miles, but we didn't do that until the second week.
Yeah, but still, I'm sure. Yeah, you must have been
We
fit.
got used to it.
Yeah. Wow.
By then.
I haven't walked through Ireland, not 25 miles anyway. Well, I've been to quite a few cities. Sligo,
Oh yes, I know.
Donegal. I mean, kind of been to all the major cities apart from Kerry, or that County Kerry. I've been nowhere in County Kerry to my knowledge, but I was in Sligo, in Donegal, Limerick, Cork, Waterford, Dublin, Athlone, and lots of other places too. I used to go down with a group of friends, and we used to give out Bible leaflets. So that's how I got to know Ireland and travel around Ireland, because I had a real strong desire to go and preach, actually, from the Bible, to start talking from the Bible. And I used to use a megaphone.
Oh.
Yeah, there were a few of us, and we had a megaphone. We managed to get a megaphone. At first, we had like a speaker with a microphone, which worked quite well. But the megaphone was maybe more portable, more practical. And then we used to give out Bible leaflets to people, and we went to all kinds of. not just major cities. We went to all the major cities. We never got to County Kerry, just so far away. But we went to all the major cities and in some of the major towns, and even the odd village too. We would have went and really anywhere. I had the weekend off and just decided, hey, I messaged people. This was in my early 20s and even early 20s anyway. And I used to message people, do you want to come along? And this is the time, and this is where we're meeting, and this is where we're going. And it was good. It was great. As I would say, it was good crack. It was good crack, and it was something that we enjoyed sharing that message. Behold the Lamb of God, which takes away the sin of the world. And it was something important to us to share. And so we not only did that, but we got to see a lot of Ireland as well, which was great.
You went by train, or did you take a car?
I was working, and so I had a wee car. At first it was a red Ford Fiesta, and then it was a Renault Clio. And so not a big car anyway, but we all packed into it and went down, and it was great. Some older guys, some even young people as well, boys and girls with us, and we just went down for the day normally. So we didn't normally travel too far every Saturday, every weekend, but we normally just went down somewhere for the day and then came back in the same day. But it was great. Great times, good memories about that. What are your favourite cities and why?
I think Waterford is a favourite city because it's on the coast and it's quite beautiful. That coastline around Waterford and Cork is very beautiful. A lot of people like to visit it from different countries. I think they go to Ireland at all. They like to go down there.
I was going to say Waterford too, actually. I like it because it's not too big. I think it's well laid out, and it's got the coast, and it seems like a clean city, well-organised city. I like it. I like Waterford a lot, actually.
The other one is Athlone, because I spent a lot of time in Athlone, on this walk in particular. And I'd not been back for 25 years until last year.
Yeah.
And I went with a friend and went to Athlone, and I decided to see if I could find the old newsagent that used to get my Daily Telegraph every morning. A chap called Ryan O'Ryan. That's
Ryan
a good
O'Ryan,
Irish name. And strangely enough, the shop was still there, and he was still in it. He was
goodness!
In his 90s.
We hadn't given you the news.
Yes, he said, "Have you come for your telegraph?"
Wow. Well, my second favourite would be Dublin. I love Dublin, and I'm not, actually not a huge fan of big cities as far as living there, but visiting, fantastic. And I really like Dublin to go, for the day.
Yeah.
Because it's got a few really good bookshops for the moment at least, and it's got some of the model shops for my model planes or model tanks or whatever. It's got some of those shops, and it's got a place called St. Stephen's Green, which is beautiful park in Dublin, and it's got really all kinds of beautiful architecture. I guess from Victorian age, Georgian,
right? Yes.
Trinity College and some of the other buildings there, and they're really beautiful buildings. Beautiful architecture. It's a really nice city, I think, to visit.
Of course, when I was there first, 45 years ago, it was a very dirty city. I didn't like it at all because the River Liffey smelt.
Right.
It was like an open sewer.
Right. Yeah.
It was not very pleasant in summer at all.
It's very different now. Yes. I think. Yeah, I haven't noticed. It's quite. Actually, people sit down. There are nice places to sit beside the river now, and I think you can go on a boat tour. I never tried it, but I think there's a boat tour that you can go on too. But recently there are seats there. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah.
You can sit down beside the river and enjoy maybe a sandwich or whatever if you might have bought. So
there's the Halfpenny Bridge. You know the Halfpenny Bridge. I don't know when it was built.
Short for halfpenny. Halfpenny is a short for halfpenny, which is old currency. Yeah, Halfpenny Bridge. That's right. It's very beautiful too. A nice pedestrian for foot passengers only. Where is your least favourite city?
Let me think about that. Well, Dublin was my least favourite, but I like it quite a lot more now, but I don't think I have a least favourite well, I suppose maybe Armagh, but that's not in the Republic.
It's in Northern.
And that's near your hometown, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll say nothing. It's not my home city, but yeah.
I think it's a very when I was a boy, it was a very dangerous place, Armagh.
Right.
And more people were killed there in the Troubles than any other city.
Right. I think it's much better now.
Oh yes, it's they've got above themselves now by claiming to be a heritage centre of St Patrick and
right. Yeah.
calling themselves a city when it is a city, but
officially,
it's only about 20,000 people.
Yeah, smaller than Portadown, my hometown.
Yes.
My least favourite might be Cork. I'm sorry to say. I know it's one of your favourites. I think it's just too cramped for me, and I got my impression when I went was a little bit dirty, but maybe it's very different now because that has been quite a while since I've been there. But it's not that I hated it or disliked it. I've been there a couple of times. I went and then went again, so I mustn't have disliked it so much. Nowhere's really bad in my opinion.
No, I think it's all pretty interesting.
And your favourite experiences?
Well, I suppose there's a lot of funny stories I could tell about strange situations in Ireland. For example, when we were on the walk, we had to take a bus from Ballinasloe to Athlone. Mm-hmm. And half the party sat on the front of the bus and half the party at the back. And the party at the back were charged half price by the same conductor, and we were charged the full price. Right. So I'm not quite sure what that was about, but it's a typical Ireland.
Some mistake happened there.
Yes. But many interesting stories that not. I don't think I've ever had a bad experience in Ireland. Lots of funny moments. I suppose you've got to go to experience them.
Yeah. I think I used to like going down to the different places, as I said, and Dublin was one of my favourite places. And I think just standing there, meeting all kinds of different nationalities and talking with all kinds of people, and never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. It was good sharing that message with people. And it was good times. But I've also enjoyed being there, shopping too, and going to Eason's.
Oh, Eason's, that's a famous bookshop, isn't it?
That's right.
I remember once I got lost on the road lost the road to Dublin before they had the motorways, and stopped in a little village, and I said to somebody, can you tell me how long it will take me to get to Dublin? He says, will you be walking? And it was about 70 miles, so it was a rather strange question, I thought, especially I was in the car.
Pretty strange. Wow. Okay. Is there somewhere else you'd like to go in Ireland, if you got the chance?
I'd like to see the Blarney Stone. I've not seen the Blarney Stone. I've seen all the other attractions, usual ones, the Giant's Causeway and the other things. But the Blarney Stone, I'd like to see.
I saw it actually.
I'm not quite sure of the story of it.
I don't know, but I saw it and I refused to kiss it, because you're supposed to kiss it and then it'll give you this magical power to speak.
That's right. You have to lie flat on your back, if I'm not mistaken. They push you into a coffin.
Yeah, and you're kissing it after someone. I know they disinfect it and everything, but you're kissing it after someone else, and I refused to do it. I said, that's for tourists, I said.
Yes.
I have the gift of the gab already. I have the Blarney already. I don't need it. Well, as I say, I've never been to the county of Kerry, and there's some beautiful mountains there. There's a national park, Killarney, I think it's called.
Killarney.
Yeah, so I'd like to go there if I got the chance. I'd need to be down that. It's quite a long journey by car, but I would like to see that. So do you think Ireland is overlooked? People come to the British Isles, to Britain and forget about Ireland, and they forget about Dublin, and they go to, London is the most popular.
I think it's overlooked by a lot of tourists. I don't think it's overlooked by Americans because it's a very popular destination for Americans because a lot of them have Irish ancestors.
Yeah.
And you often see American tourists in Ireland, especially in Dublin. But I think it is overlooked by people who come to England. Some Russian friends of mine went to England, and I told them they must go across to Dublin, and they did go, and they were very surprised, but they couldn't understand a word of that was said.
Sometimes I can't either. The Dublin accent, depending on who's speaking, it can be quite strong.
Yes.
And even I might not understand them. But then maybe if I spoke with a very strong accent, I might not be understood either. So some may ask, and of course I know the answer to this, but some may ask, isn't it hard to live or to visit a country with so much rain? Rain and rain and rain, and every day. We have a saying, it rains just twice a week, once for 3 days and another time for 4.
Yes, I think this is very true. It depends if you like rain. I think for English people it's not a problem, but for people, I suppose, from the continent of Europe will think that, I don't want to go there because it's always raining.
Yeah, and it's got that reputation, and it's partly true, I think.
Yes.
But actually, when we were giving out these Bible leaflets and speaking and all, we were always kind of worried, well, will it rain, because that would be crucial. If it rains, we're limited to what we can do. But we found that in all the weeks we went, there were very few times where the rain stopped us. I mean, it might rain for a little bit during the day, but it would be gone then. So actually, I don't think it was ever really a big deal, ever really a problem. It generally rains and for a short time, and then it's gone. So if you do want to go to Ireland, Northern Ireland, or the UK, anywhere else in the UK, bring a nice raincoat.
And an umbrella.
And don't panic. Just bring fairly good shoes, not welly. You don't need to have big boots or anything, but waterproof shoes, some kind, a nice raincoat, and don't worry about it. Go out and enjoy yourself, and if it rains, you can shelter somewhere and enjoy your coat over you, and you'll be fine.
I think it's far better than sometimes in Nova Sibirsk you get very strong rain for some time, and that's quite annoying and bad because
it can be more difficult.
It can be very difficult to go out. I think in Britain, and especially, even if it's raining, it doesn't prevent your doing anything. People
get on with it, and the rain goes away, dries up, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
So there you go. That was the crack about travelling Ireland. So we spoke about what we associate with the country, how we are connected to it in any way, the differences between it and Northern Ireland, some of our travels and the cities we've been to, our least and our most favourite places, and different experiences we've had, favouurite experience, and whether we think it's a little bit overlooked, as we do. So that was the crack about travelling Ireland.